Well, hello.
Hello,
I'm Helen,
I'm Szara.
and together
You're
we
committed
are
parenting.
parenting. And guess what? We're live right now.
I know, and we get to be together. I get to come back. I've missed it.
Yeah, we've missed you.
Mm. So we get to be here. So what we normally do around here, normally, is every month we take on a lens. We take on a commitment to look at, and we see how that commitment can forward what we're up to in our family, how it can make a
Mhm.
difference, how we can try on new things with our family, and how we can really create families thriving.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
And
and given the times right now,
yeah,
we're going
when
to
we're
mix it up a little.
yeah, and I think too, like I just want to speak too that what we always stand for is connection within families and parents having power. And especially when we're thrust together, that may not be the case. So it's the perfect time for us to be together and actually have a little inquiry about what we're dealing with
Yeah,
and what
yeah.
life
And
is like
so
right now.
yeah, and so what Helen and I are creating, because families thriving really matters, and for our own personal families to thrive is very important. But it actually, I really see the value in all families thriving, and I see the difference it makes. Like when our families are thriving, who we get to be as parents, who our kids get to be, the world we kind of get to live in, what it brings to our life, it just has such value. And right now, some people might be grappling with the whole idea of families thriving. Things are
No
different.
kidding.
There's different stressors, there's different stuff people are dealing with. We might all be in this close quarters together, we also might be apart from each other.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what you're dealing with, but I actually really do want to know what you're dealing with,
Hmm.
and how this new situation is affecting people and is affecting you and your family.
And not just from the being together either, Sarah. I think what there is to point at is that societally there's an impact, and that for many people they're dealing with money and
Hmm.
and and what it looks like to have a job or not have a job, or have a job that you need to fulfill on, and then have kids around. There's so much. And
Yeah.
then for some of us, we're really dealing with our well-being, and
Hmm.
and people around us, and how we get to be in relationship with, for example, our mothers or fathers if they're aging. All of that. It actually drives up all the big
Yeah.
questions. I mean, we were actually just saying that at the start of before we got on this call, is that, and I keep having this experience, whatever is not settled where we are gets driven up in the time of crisis, right?
Yes. Yes. And what tends to happen, or where like kind of our automatic can go, is to survive. It can get through, put our head down, do our best, make the best of it, just keep doing what we're already doing. We get caught in these loops. We can get caught in this survival and this tension, and things actually kind of heighten and escalate in that way.
Thank you for saying that, because I'm reminded when Adrian had to work on a project for 6 weeks, and he was really clear he would not be available. He may be coming home every day, but he wasn't actually like available to parent, and he was really tired with what he was doing too. And I remember having this experience of just putting my head down. It was up to me to make it all work.
Hmm.
And I'm just wondering if other people are experiencing that right now. I personally am not having that experience. I'm certainly noticed I'm dealing with stuff, but I don't have that experience of having to have my head down and working really hard at it.
Yeah. But it points to that there's lots of different experiences you might be
Yeah,
having, right?
it
and
really does.
and there's nothing like, there's nothing wrong with surviving. Like, it's like it's what's right there for us. And like the only thing, and this is why, Helen and I, actually what we're creating is coming on daily over the next little while,
Hmm.
at 12:30, to come on and just keep a conversation alive and keep a conversation going, of us sharing where we are. We might bring some other people on, because so many people are in different spaces. And there's an opportunity, right? Like, if we're in survival, our heads are down, we're trying to hold it together, we're doing what we know how to do,
Mm.
and just pausing for a moment, like
Thank
just
you.
pausing and being here in conversation,
Hands
being
down.
here in a distinct conversation or an opportunity conversation. And when I say that, I don't mean like you can't be exactly where you are. Actually, be exactly where you are. Be frustrated or sad or angry, wherever you're at is perfect. But like, let's just pause and be together for a little while.
And you know what else is there for me, Sarah, is when we have all those experiences, what I tend to do is try and resist them. I try to keep at bay my concern, my fear, my anxiety, my upset. I tend to do this. Just I'll hold it out
Yeah.
there. right? And actually what I'm hearing is the opportunity is actually to let the stuff in and not have it overwhelm you though, but like to actually let it in, let the experience in so that then you actually have space to create something. Because I notice when I'm doing this, I'm so guarded, I'm not actually available.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's that survival tendency. Like we
It
can't handle
really
one
is.
more thing. I can't be
Exactly.
with it. I just got to keep going and doing what I know how to do. And this is what we're creating this conversation is just let's pause and let's be with right where we're at
Hmm.
in an environment that, we've got each other's backs around here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So I
In
know
fact,
like
you
both
know what? Can I just
what?
say something? I actually am inviting everyone to make a cup of tea or hot drink or whatever it is. Sorry, doesn't like hot drinks. So a
I'll
glass of
drink tea.
fizzy
Oh,
water.
I've been drinking a lot of tea
Oh,
lately.
good. Okay, I'm really glad. It's very good for your chest. Or if you want to have some water with some lemon, or my friend makes it with orange slices in it, like mandarin orange water. I'm telling you, whole new experience. Anyway, I'm actually inviting you all each day around 12:30. Make yourself whatever your drink it is. Just come and hang out with us for a few minutes, and actually like be with what's there, and then get to actually look. Okay, so what am I
Hmm.
taking on for the rest of the day today?
Yeah. And you can do that in so many ways. I love what you're creating. Like it's really up to you. You get to create this as a pause moment in your day. And
Mm-hmm.
you get to grab your drink, be here with us and all those that might be joining us. And you might want to, I'm a writer, so for myself, I love to grab a journal. You might want to just have a piece of paper, like what kind of comes up for you in this conversation and you can write it down.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever works for you and however you want to pull this forward, like this gets to be our time. This
Mm-hmm.
really is our time here together.
And that's it. That's actually what we created. Our time. Right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Daily,
inside of this
12:30.
family conversation,
Yes.
right? Like inside of families thriving. Families thrive. You know, families are connected. Children are heard. Parents have power. Like this is what we're about and this is like more than ever a time when we get to band together and be that for each other.
Hmm. And actually, I just hear like we're all on the equal playing field somehow. We're all dealing with the same thing as a bigger
Yeah.
circumstance, right?
Yeah. And it looks
It's
different, but it's all this
exactly,
the same thing. Like what a one opportunity, like a oneness.
exactly. That's what I heard, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually get to be together in this.
Yeah. And like we like on this conversation today, like we get a chance to even just share briefly like what we've been dealing with. And we will continually on each of our calls just to share like what we're dealing with or what we're noticing or
Hmm.
discovering or confronting or what's making a difference.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so some of you might have noticed or might not have noticed, I haven't been on the Facebook Lives or any of our things for the last couple of weeks. And, I've actually been dealing with my well being. And I am a presumed COVID-19 case. And that has been interesting for me. And like, look, I'm doing great. There's no reason for concern. I'm healing. I'm recovered. I'm actually not contagious anymore either. So I can come out of my little
So
quarantine
boring.
spot of my very small life. I felt very small. And that took something because, like, it was interesting because I was in Hawaii and I came back here to BC. And then the rest of my family came back here because Canadians were asked to all come home but we couldn't even be together. It was really weird. I was up in an upstairs suite. I'm privileged that the home we had a couple of different suites available in it, and I kind of quarantined up to a top suite while my husband and my boys were downstairs in the bottom suite. And it was really interesting to like how I was longing for them. I was really missing them. I was really
Mm,
missing my family. I really wanted to be close to them, and yet I couldn't.
mm,
And and I cried a few tears about it. You
mm,
get a little emotional, and then created some opportunities. And we
mm.
had a riot. We had all these conversations over the decks that most of the time we couldn't actually tell what we were actually saying to each other. It was like repeating each other like 6 times. I'd like yell down to and on and try to have a conversation. Be like, what, what? But it was just I didn't even care what we were saying.
Mm,
Just to like be in conversation and see him physically down in the yard doing his thing. It was lovely. It
mm.
was lovely just to create like micro moments, even creating micro moments that I can be connected with my kids.
Well, that's
Made
what I
such a
actually hear.
difference for me.
Yeah.
And it filled my cup. And because like without it, I noticed how teary I was. Like it
Mm,
was like, oh, I felt really separate. And just creating the smallest micro moment of like me being on a balcony, calling down to my kids, even though it was only a couple minutes I would even be out there for because I was really wiped out. It filled my cup and gave me like that exhale, and I could go
mm,
rest for a little bit while and feel whole, and like my kids are there and they know I'm okay.
mm. Well, that's it, right? That's actually the gift you were giving them. They actually had
Yeah,
connection with you. Yeah, that's
yeah.
amazing. It's so
Hmm.
great to have you upright.
And I feel so energetic. I feel great. I'm getting back right to my old self, so it's perfect. So watch out. You got to deal with me.
Yeah, it's curious, right? We're dealing with a kid that's on his way home from having been. There's her nice cough, just in case you're wondering. We're dealing with a kid that's still on his way home, and that's been something, to have somebody's flights cancelled over and over. He's really fortunate. He's traveling with a family. He wasn't anticipating that he would, but he ended up with his girlfriend's family. He's been so fortunate to be with people, I honestly say, who love him and care about him. And I at one point said, gee, I can't imagine having to deal with somebody else's kid in the middle of all of this. And although there was an acknowledgement, yes, I have to deal with someone else's kid, what I also got back is that he's making a difference where he is. Who he's being is such that it makes a difference. So there've been lots and lots of conversations. I don't know. I've FaceTimed him. No, I've WhatsApped him. Let's use the right technology here.
Yeah.
And he's due to come home. He has a flight booked, but it's been that push-pull of having a grown-up kid out in the world, right?
Yeah. What's that been
Yeah.
like for you?
Oh, well, I
It's
think,
right there. I hear something right there.
well,
And
it's been really hard because it's that part where I start to recognize that my kid is growing up and this may be home and it might be home for a little while yet, but really you can start to hear um, his independence. And I really honor that. Like, I really do. And there's that thing that he is grown up now. Yeah, and I think for a while there, I wasn't actually aware of how much I missed him. And I actually had a whole afternoon where I was really in tears with Adrian, and I just said, I haven't been talking to my kid, and I miss him because he's a really good sidekick in my life. I often talk to him. He's often, I don't know, we shoot the breeze, we have conversations. It doesn't even need to be something deep and meaningful, but we share our lives. And to not have him here was really weird. And so it was really like, how am I going to create this going forward?
yeah. And just for reference, like it's a 20-year-old. So like what I really hear is like that transition
It
age, right?
really is.
That
Yeah,
transition
sorry. Thank
age
you.
where
Yeah.
you really are used to having him close by, like he is your sidekick. You guys do a lot
Hmm.
together. You even work together.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
to really,
And he's like an adult in our house. He's not like, he is an adult in our house. We rely on him in that way. And so also not to have that kind of
yeah.
structure in the house was really funny too. And it's not like other people didn't step up. Man, oh man. I have a
Hmm.
kid who's going to work every day, 8 hours a day currently, and he brought home groceries that he had selected for each one of us. Like, really chose so carefully, like what he brought home for everyone. But it was this moment of my kid being big and my kid contributing to us. I'm the mom, I should provide. No, here's my kid providing, like, and carefully thought out. It was so touching, you
Mm.
know. But it's the ongoing shift of how life looks,
Yeah.
and we don't stop. It doesn't stop just because there's something called COVID-19 happening, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If
Mm-hmm.
anything, it can, grow or be big more. Like
I
it
think it
seems.
exacerbates those things, honestly, do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so through this, what I hear, like what I just so hear and you're sharing, like through it all, like here's life happening with, your children, and they're growing, or they're doing what they're doing. They're becoming these adults, they're becoming their own people, and they already are their own people, and you're really getting to interact with them in that way. And right beside it is all the COVID-19 stuff that's happening. And it's like, whoa, like it's all happening.
Uh-huh.
And we're dealing with it all, and all of it's right here, and we're navigating, and it brings up different things. Yeah.
And I think that, I think we've never lived through something like this. Now,
Mm,
we know that some people lived through the 1918 flu pandemic, but as a society, we've never lived through this. So there's not even a pathway, as it
mm,
were. You know, these conversations haven't been had. So we're actually bushwhacking, all of it. We're
Well, and
bushwhacking
also
our
too for our
parenting.
demographic, right? Like our
Yeah,
demographic of people who are parents right now in this conversation, we haven't even lived through wars or things like
no,
that either.
no,
And so like this is like we haven't ever dealt with like a global crisis.
no, we haven't.
And yeah.
It's fascinating. I remember I remember way back, Adrian saying to me, our generation will face something. You know, it's not like we're going to get away scot free. It's
Mm,
fascinating, right?
mm, yes.
And here we are.
So
And I just think,
every day, yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but the opportunity is also to create it that we are bushwhacking. It's not known. There isn't
Yeah.
a right way. That's what I really wanted to say out of
Mm,
this. There isn't a right way.
yeah. This hasn't been done before.
No. But I think what I'm also pointing to is we get trapped. We think there's a right way to do stuff, right? There's a right way to parent, there's a right way to raise your kids, whatever that is. But there isn't. And this just highlights it.
Yeah.
So there's permission is also what I'm saying.
Yeah, permission and like saying that I love what you're creating too. Bushwhacking. We're bushwhackers. We get to be a tribe of bushwhackers, parents that are like figuring it out and trying it on and standing somewhere and committed. Like again, committed parenting. What are you committed to? This is a time more than ever. Your commitment can be a place to stand and come from. That commitment can like keep what's important to you alive in your family, even in the face of it all.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why every day, here we go,
12:30.
12:30.
Come
And
join us.
what we're doing is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're doing a Facebook Live like this. And on Friday, we're actually going to open it up for a bit longer of a call on a Zoom webinar where you can actually join in and be part of a conversation. So we're really opening it up because we're really out to make a difference with parents and bring what's our commitment, what's right there for us, and what would it take to be our commitment right now in the face of it all.
Mm-hmm. Really
So
great.
families thrive. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank
So we
you.
would love to hear from you too. Please, in the comments below, let us know what are you facing? What are
Mm-hmm.
you grappling with? What is right there for you? We're looking to be of service and of value. Let us know what you're confronting. We can talk about it. We can bring it to conversation. We've got your back and we're here as a community.
Really, really.
Yes. So until tomorrow.
Be true.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Aw.